Alrighty. So if you have your ukulele, now's the time to grab it. If you're tuning in later, happy Uke Week. Here we are. So I have my tenor ukulele here for start, and then we'll get into how many people have baritone ukulele with them? You have a baritone? Good, good. You got the memo. How many people have a tenor or something other than a baritone? Okay, so there's a mix. That's fine. That's totally fine. Can you hear this when I play? Okay. So I'm pretty sure this is in D minor. But the chord shapes are so twisted. Every time I go back to this arrangement, I have to relearn it. It's something. So I think the basic chord progression goes like this. Let's play D minor together. Da 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 dee, and then B flat. Da da dum dee, and then to C. Paradise awaits and so does she, A minor. So this little series of four chords, D minor to a B flat to a C there, and then to an A minor here. That gets us a long way in this piece. D minor to B flat and C to an A minor here. Let's just do that a few times to get in the groove. D minor, B flat. Right now I'm in standard standard tuning on a tenor. I'll get to the baritone in a sec. D minor, B flat, and C, and then there's sort of a ray of sunshine at the end, and it finishes on an F chord, or an F add 9, if you're lazy like me and you like the sound of the F add 9, which is just one finger on the F note. Am I anywhere near in tune? Because sometimes I drift way out of tune, and then I jump on these calls and people are like, what in the world? I was a bit sharp. Okay, so sue me. Okay. Here we go. Let's do that one more time. Even if you're playing the baritone, you can play these chords, and then we'll get into the baritone magic here in just a sec. Starting with D minor. Here we go. 1, 2, ready. D minor. It's D minor here, B flat there, C, and back to A minor to end. The same thing, D minor, then B flat, C chord, but then it finishes on an F major here. Okay, so those are the four chords that, well, okay, there's 5 chords because the second time it goes to F. Those are the chords for the whole piece. I don't have a printed score for this just yet, but I'll probably make one, and then I'll probably email it out to everybody. That'd be a nice little Uke Week bonus, wouldn't it? So if you have a baritone, I like the sound of this on baritone, but it really pushes the limits of what is legal on the baritone. And also, just before we get to that, I do want to give you a tiny little bit of context for this piece. You know this was a piece that I picked for the fundraiser that Craig and Sarah did last year. That fundraiser was extremely successful. They have now distributed $170,000 to Maui Food Bank. All of this, of course, is to help with the recovery effort after the fires a year ago. They've distributed $40,000 to the Council for Native Hawaiian Advancement and $6,000 to Hawaii Community Foundation. But that $170,000 to Maui Food Bank is really something exceptional, and Craig and Sarah have really led the charge in terms of bringing the ukulele community together to support our friends in Maui and around the world who've been affected by this. So I know it's not so much in the news cycle anymore, but it's still a long road to recovery there. And I just want to say thank you to Craig and Sarah for all the amazing work that they've done to not just to bring attention to this cause, but to also really move the needle and give money where it's needed. So thank you to all of you who have supported them, and to Craig and Sarah in particular for being such wonderful people. And we're so lucky to have them in our community. Now, when it came time to deciding on a piece to play for the fundraising concert, I was sort of racking my brain for songs that I know that mention Lahaina or have anything to do with Lahaina. There were a couple of Hawaiian songs, but I felt a little bit awkward about being a Canadian so far away, singing a Hawaiian song. So I was looking for something else, and I came across this piece by the Beach Boys, and I got to tell you, if you don't know this album by the Beach Boys, it's from the album. Let me see, what's it called? Summer in Paradise. It was released in 1992, right? So not exactly the Beach Boys' heyday. And this album, Summer in Paradise, you really just have to go listen to it to understand like how bad it is. It is just the most universally panned album that they ever did. I'm on allmusic.com right now, which is compiles reviews for albums. It has a 1-star rating. That's out of 5 stars. Here's a snippet of a review just to give you a flavor for the way this album was received in 1992. It says, what would the Beach Boys be like if Brian Wilson were banned and lead singer Mike Love ruled the roost? It would be like this: writing bad songs, recording bad covers of old songs, a pointless parody of themselves. Oh, is that harsh or what? I mean, what a review. 1 star out of 5. It just got smashed in the press, this album. And, it's not, it's a bit of a mess of an album, I'll admit. But I loved this one song out of it. And I want you to go back after this is over, and I want you to listen to the original to see how far we had to take it from the sort of overproduced 1992 sound to get to the core of this song. But I think we managed to get there, and part of that is because of the baritone and what the baritone brings out in this tune. So if you now have your baritone ukulele, and don't worry, if you don't have a baritone ukulele, you can still just play along with the chords D minor, B flat, C, and A minor that we had before. Now, normally, a baritone would be tuned D, G, B, E. What am I? Way overshooting it. I want to go through this together because I don't want to leave you behind. So here's a normal baritone tuning, D, G, B, E. I always have my baritones tuned with the 4th string high, so it's high D, G, B, E. This is the Lyle Ritz tuning. This is the tuning that he was so fond of for jazz, and it's the tuning that I prefer for my baritone. High D, so re-entrant D, and what is it? D, G, B, E. Now, here's the next step. The next step is a tuning that I have loved for years, and I played a lot on my old Silo album, and also I played a ton of this on the UKEDS album, and this is the B-E-B-E tuning. So in B-E-B-E tuning, you don't touch the 1st and 2nd strings. They stay the way they are, but the 3rd string of the baritone goes all the way down to an E, so that it's an octave away from the 1st string. So there it is. So you just It's okay, it's a reversible procedure, don't worry. You just twist the knob until that third string goes all the way down to an E, very low. And then the string closest to your face, and I hope you're doing this like at home and actually following along with me, because this B-E tuning is really beautiful. The string closest to your face will then go down to a B, which is the same as the second string. So the string closest to your face is B. Going down toward the floor, we have an E, and then another B, and then another E. So that's why we call it Bebe tuning, or B-E tuning. And this tuning, it had really sort of changed my life when I stumbled on it. In the violin or the fiddle world, this is what you call a cross tuning, where you have the same notes reappearing in one tuning. So B-E, B-E. And you can mess around in this B-E, B-E tuning and find some really beautiful sort of places to play. Often just putting a couple of fingers in the middle two strings and moving that around gets some really beautiful sounds. I have no idea what chords I'm playing. But I really like the sound. And you can always come back to home base, which is no fingers at all. And you get this lovely resonating open sound. Steph says, what about if my fourth string is an octave lower? Yeah, it might work. I haven't tried it. I've always tried this with the high fourth string, so give it a whirl. If it gets too floppy, then, you know, well, I don't know what to tell you. But try the reentrant fourth. But it might go. It might go. I've had some of the wound strings down an octave below where they should be. So, you know, what's the worst that can happen? You're not going to break a string. That's the good news. These are all going down in pitch. So now that you've taken this time to get into the B-E tuning, if you have a baritone, now we're going to take that whole thing down again. And this is where, for the Lahaina Aloha piece, I went down another, let's see, another, the E goes down, it goes down a third from there. This is why the ukulele sounds so, it almost sounds like a slow motion ukulele if you listen to the video. It sounds like you're hearing a playback in slow motion. It sounds very heavy and like it's almost like a dream, like when you try to run in a dream and you can't because your feet won't move. The ukulele, when it's tuned so low, it has this kind of lethargy about it, this kind of there's this weight to the sound that I thought really suited the heaviness of what we were feeling at that moment. So if I tune the string that's closest to the floor, if I tune this down to a C, I'm going to compare to my tenor. And I turn the third string down to a C as well. And you know, when you're tuning down, you want to go lower than the note and then come back up to the note. And that helps to stretch out the string. And you might even want to just take the string and pull it away from the fretboard a little bit to get that, to let it settle into that very, very low note. Now you should have the first string and the third string that are both C's. And then the other two strings, we want them to be G's. So this is the G-C, G-C tuning. And your ukulele, your baritone, is going to protest at this kind of treatment. Especially that low C on the third string. And what you'll notice is that the strings have kind of they have sort of a memory, and they'll start to creep back up to where they were, which is a very strange thing. I can't explain why that is, but they will start to creep up to your original tuning. And you'll just have to keep reminding it gently by turning the pegs down a little bit every minute or two until it finally settles into this ultra low, ultra heavy tuning. Now I'm using a pick for this because I really wanted to feel the heaviness and the flappiness of the strings. And now you're starting to hear the result of this abuse of the strings, but we end up with something that is a little bit otherworldly. It's like, again, it sounds like a bit dreamlike. You're not sure. It sounds familiar and yet a little bit out of the ordinary. Yeah.
James, could you just quickly say the letter names starting from the bottom to the top?
Sure,
just
yeah.
Just to...
I'm thinking aloud about this too. It's G, C, G, C. This is, as Jolt says in the chat, he says this is slack key. Very slack. All the way down. So, the chord that got me started on this, the voicing is this 5-5-0-0. Once you're into this very extreme tuning, this is a beautiful way of playing the F chord. Don't worry if you're not following like what chords I'm playing. I didn't know, even in the time of filming that video, I didn't know what chords I was playing. And that might sound like I'm pulling your leg. It's completely true. When you start exploring alternate tunings, you start to forget everything that you know, which sounds terrifying. But once you get used to it, it's a lot of fun. You don't know anything anymore, and you just start putting your fingers any place, and you start thinking, "Oh, that's nice. Oh, maybe I'll do that again." And you start surprising yourself, just the way you did on the first day that you played the ukulele. And you found a chord that you loved and you played it all day because it was so beautiful. That's the way it feels to play in an altered tuning. And so let me just give you the four chord positions that form the basis of this piece. So the first one is the toughest, and then they get easier. If you put your first finger straight across on the second fret, this gives you sort of a D minor. But then I added my little finger on the 5th fret while I'm barring the second. So that gives me 2, 5, 2, 2. This is almost like a medieval sounding. Almost sounds like a sort of an ancient harp or something. There's so many doubled notes, and playing with the pick brings out that quality. So that's 2, 5, 2, 2. Those are the names of the frets from the ceiling down to the floor, and I'm barring the 2nd fret. So that's where the sea breeze, and then sways the palm trees, changes to B flat, only we're going to play it like this. Again, I didn't know this was a B flat chord till recently. 0, 5, 3, 0. we get this very sort of evocative sounding, evocative and slightly out of tune. So that is 0, 5, 3, 0. And I'm playing that with my ring finger on the 5th fret, first finger on the 3rd fret. As you'll see, I mentioned this before, but we'll often play just the middle 2 strings in this tuning and leave the outer strings open. And the next chord is Paradise. Paradise awaits. And this Paradise is just all the open strings. Paradise awaits. And there's one last chord. And it is just the same one that you did on Sways, only it's 1 fret lower. 0, 4, 2, 0. Again, just the middle 2 strings is all we're focusing on. Ring finger on the 4th fret, the 3rd string, and then first finger on the 2nd fret, 2nd string. That little shape gets us 2 of the chords in this piece. Those 2 chords. So I'm just going to play it, and I want you to watch my hand. And now that you're seeing a little bit of how this tuning is bringing out these really odd voicings, just see how it goes. So here's my D minor. Da-da-dee, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Same thing. Da-da-da-dee, da-da-da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. And that resolution chord is the one that I mentioned before, which is 5, 5, 0, 0. That's where it all comes back to roost. So regardless of what tuning you're in, let's try this together. And I'm gonna put these in the chat here, and hopefully this way of writing them isn't too unfamiliar to you. I'm gonna write 2, 5, 2, 2 is the first one, followed by 0, 5, 3, 0, followed by everyone's favorite 0, 0, 0, 0, and finally 0, 4, 2, 0. Now this might all just look like a bunch of gibberish, but that gives you the positions of the of each chord. 4 chords. The first one straight across on the 2nd fret with the 5th fret added on the 3rd string. And then we've got 0, 5, 3, 0. All the open strings. And then 0, 4, 2, 0. And those are, if you're just playing along in some kind of standard tuning, B minor, D minor, sorry, B flat, C, and A minor. That's what it sort of translates to. So let's just try this together and see how it goes. I almost hesitate to say, but any questions before we try this together? Since we have several tunings running at the same time, this could be a total train wreck. But any questions?
For what it's worth, I'm copying these, Rob. I'm copying these into a Word document so that they'll be somewhere as you put them up.
Yes, good.
So I'm happy to share that.
For sure. And I'll I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to score this out so that you don't have to feel like you get it all like right now on this call, but I'll put it on paper and send it out by email to everybody so that you have it. Because it is a bit odd, isn't it? To keep track of not only some chord positions, but chord positions that only work in a very esoteric tuning. The only reason why I'm pushing through and and wanting you to follow along with this is because the sound is so unusual, it's so harp-like. It might open some musical doors for you. Who knows what that thing is going to be that's going to, set you on fire and open up this new, leg of your musical journey. This might be it. Who knows? So let's try it from the top. Just these 4 chords, and regardless of what tuning you're in, D minor, B flat, C, and A minor. And Rob says it does work with the low D, so that's cool. I'd love to hear that. Okay, so here we go, right from the top. 1, 2, here we go. Open string. Same thing. So that's just those 4 on a continuous loop. This time around, let's resolve to the F at the very end. For those in the weird tuning, that's 5-5-0. And very good. And it's the same sequence in a slightly tweaked rhythm. I want to, but I can't stay. Oh, I'm bound to sail away when the wind comes up and the sun goes down. I'll say goodbye to the Hawaiian town. I think about you when the full moon shines. You and Lahaina always on my mind. Now, in the chorus, it's a slightly different sequence, but it's all the same chord shapes. And so those are the 4, plus the bonus of this sort of resolution chord. Those are the 4.5, voicings that you need for this piece. But I wanted to take you behind the scenes on what is one of the most unusual arrangements that I think I've ever done. And like I said, every time I go to play this, I literally have to relearn it because there's no link between these finger positions and anything that we think of as standard, right? So you're always sort of going back and relearning it every time. But it's such a strange and beautiful sound. I thought you might enjoy seeing it up close, and I will send out if you got anything in your email to do with Uke Week, then you'll get a follow-up from me with the sheet music for this as well. And don't forget to check out the original Beach Boys recording from 1992. It is truly horrendous, and I hope you enjoy it. And I hope you get a kick out of just how far off this particular arrangement is from the original recording. So thank you for coming. This is just the start of Uke Week. Hands up if you're part of Uku Loudly or you're planning to attend tomorrow for the mix reveal session of Ode to Joy. It's going to be awesome. You've never heard Ode to Joy quite like this before, so that'll be another fun session. We're doing that tomorrow. Then what's happening? We've got a great, we've got the lovely Samantha Muir coming to talk us through the fascinating history of the ukulele on Thursday, so I hope you can join us for that. And then the big day, Friday, is the birthday of the ukulele. We're all going to get together very much like this, only we'll be playing a song that we know, using some chords that we know, unlike today. So I hope you'll pop in throughout the week as we celebrate the ukulele and its big day coming up on the 23rd of August. So thank you so much, everybody. Thanks for stopping by, and happy Uke Week once again, and I hope to see you real soon. Take care. Bye for now.